Welcome to the official AFC Wimbledon podcast, powered this season by Firedoor Compliance Consultants Limited. Head over to fdccltd.co.uk to find out what Dan and the gang are up to this week. Delighted to say, got a bit of a round table this week. It's a bit of a reflective episode with myself, Director of Football Craig Cope, and manager Johnnie Jackson. Boss, how are you?
Very well, thank you, mate. Thanks for having us.
Craig, how are you?
Very good.
Yeah? Relaxed after a frantic end to the window, kind of?
Yeah, no, it's been a tough window. Not a lot of time to do much in, but now I'm nice and relaxed now and hand over to these guys to coach the team and get on with it.
What's the first few weeks of the season been like, boss?
Mental, to be honest. Just hectic, frenetic, just game after game. We was like writing the next sort of 6 weeks up on the board today, and after the Palace game next week, we've actually got like 5 or 6 clear weeks. And you sort of wonder, well, why can't they space them out a little bit, you know, rather than we've gone in, I think we've had like 5 Tuesdays in a row, haven't we? Which makes it's hard, to be honest. Obviously, you go from not playing, do pre-season, and then bang, you got to play a game every 3 days. I just think that they could space it out a little bit better, to be honest. But yeah, listen, if you'd won every game and you were top of the league, you'd love it, you know. We're sort of somewhere in the middle of that. We had a decent start. Feel like we should have a little bit more to show for it, but obviously been pegged back a couple of times as well. So, yeah, I would have liked a little bit more time between games to work on stuff, but we're going to get that now. So at least we can sort of slow it down a little bit now, take a bit more of a breather.
We're recording this the Tuesday before Rotherham at home when the Championship and the Premier League comes back. If you look back on the last week, 10 days, what's the overriding feeling? Is it frustration, disappointment? Well,
it depends how far you go back. Like, if we're including Bradford in that, Bradford's a weird one because I thought we played really well. Arguably one of the best performances of the season. With the ball, one of the best performances under myself, I think, as far as some of the football that we played. But we conceded 3 goals and lost the game. So that was a weird sort of bittersweet emotion after that. I'd rather play rubbish and win, to be honest, than play as well as we did and get beat. But obviously there was some, you know, the 2 of the goals were individual mistakes that the keeper will no doubt be disappointed with. So that one, yeah, there was a lot to be encouraged. Saturday just frustrated me because we just didn't give ourselves a chance to find out whether we could have got anything from the game. I think they was better than us in the first half, but we spoke at half-time about some things that we wanted to do. Come out quite bright, start the second half, 5 minutes, and we're on top. And Bolton have been in that position quite a lot this season and not seen it through. So I felt like we definitely had a chance to grow into that game. And then obviously the red card, Brownie's one, which is, you know, it's a bad decision on his part. It's sort of ridiculous, really, that we end up going down to 10, having started the second half, and we sort of, I don't know, I just come away from there thinking, well, like, we just didn't give ourselves a chance to get something from the game. We didn't see the best of us at all, and we'll never know what the best of us, well, until we play them again, we'll never know what the best of us would look like against the best of, like, a good Bolton team. So frustrated with that one. But on the whole, I think that's probably the first one really this season where I've come away and thought, you know, we got what we deserved today, which was nothing.
What about you, Craig?
Yeah, I think it's all been merged into one for me. So you come out of Wembley, you have the discussion straight away what your budget looks like. We sort of acted pretty quickly on that. Me and the gaffer then talk about how we want the squad to look like, and then the fixtures come out and you've got 5 of the first 7 games, you've got 5, the top 5 favourites to go up. So like slap back into League One. This is what it's going to be for you. And it's a really good, exciting challenge to have. You're thrown right into the deep end. And I think bar Saturday, we've played some really good football. I think the fans are on board with it. I think we are exciting people. We've still got our identity, but we're trying to evolve. I think the new recruits have settled in really well. And like the gaffer said there, that Saturday's disappointing because I thought we had a really good chance in the first 5 minutes. We then held on for a little bit at the end of the first half. Going at half-time, you change a few things. We actually look on top for the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, and then the game's blown completely in a different direction because of a sending off. So it is frustrating, but on a whole, I think we have to look here now after 7 games and go, we've started the season well.
How do you feel the new boys settled in, Johnny? I mean, it's always tough, isn't it? Trying to not rebuild a squad, but kind of semi-rebuild a squad, bolster a squad, get some new faces in for a more difficult challenge, because let's face it, League Two was an absolute swamp and we're glad we're not there anymore. How do you integrate characters into a dressing room so quickly?
Well, you have to have trust in the type of character that you've recruited. So someone that part of our remit when we are recruiting players is someone that we feel is going to fit into what we're doing in the group. Having the trust in the group that we've already got and the spirit that we've created, that when we sign players, they bring them in. You know, people like Reevesy, the captain, and Omar, and the experienced ones that have been here and done it, Jono, Lucy, they bring people in straight away. So that definitely helps. The earlier you can get them in, the better. But it don't always work like that. Obviously, we've done some pretty early, got them out to Spain with us, which always helps. But then some have come a little bit later. But the best thing for them, in my opinion, is to get out on the pitch and play and show people why we brought them in, what they can do, what they can offer the group, stuff like that. So, you know, like Craig says, they've settled in really well. Some of them have gone straight into the team and are showing why we brought them in. Some of them have to be a little bit more patient. And some have had little setbacks with injuries, stuff like that, which is part of the course. You don't expect to sign the whole new team and that out they go and bang, that works, you know. We never wanted to do that. We wanted to replace the ones that we'd lost and just add a few to help us. And you know, like probably one of the key areas, well, the 3 key areas that we lost was probably the goalkeeper and the 2 wing backs. And I think if you look at those lads that have come into the team and replaced those, they've done great. You know, they've done great, and I think there's more to come from them both. All 3 of them, and the others that we brought in too. So I'd say, yeah, good start. Definitely more to come. You know, young Antoine has gone and got himself a couple of goals already. He wants to start games, so he's pushing every day in training. He's pushing. You got, you know, someone like McCoy Splat, who's his first taste of senior football, and it's been a bit slower for him because he's had setbacks with injuries and he's got on the pitch and then he's had, you know, a little setback. So he needs to grow into it. I'm missing a few out, but I think that's the gist of it, you know.
So how do you guys, I mean, take us sort of like behind the scenes with regards to the planning. Spoke to Mick on the last episode, Mick Buckley, the club chair, and he talked about how it kind of began sort of the day after because there is so much to organise. We had stuff infrastructurally at the stadium to get on with. Look, we know they've got a whole bunch of new sponsorship deals in. There's new catering. So you've got James Woodruff looking after all that. And then you've got you, sort of like director of football, coming off the high of Wembley, going, right, let's go again. Let's build now for League One. What conversations did you guys have? I'm not going to say the day after because you'd certainly had a couple of beers. But the days after Wembley, what were the conversations about?
We did speak the day after. We both went, oh, God, it's League One. No, like, we sort of knew what the budget would be going in, and we knew that budget would put us bottom or near the bottom. So then I was daunted. I've got to go and put a squad together to compete in League One. The board acted fairly quickly and increased the playing budget. You know, did a stretch budget and they increased the playing budget by a considerable amount. By the way, that doesn't move us that. I don't think will move us that higher up the budget table. But no, we started speaking straight away. We knew the sort of players. Some of the players we wanted to get in, regardless of what division we're in, and that's the conversation really. Just open, honest, and transparent with each other.
The other thing you have to do it's the horrible bit of it is you got to let the lads know that you're not keeping. Which some would have had a good idea about. Some would have been a little bit up in the air.
How hard is that for you guys?
Some of that would have been dictated by whether we did go up or not as well. So they're conversations that you couldn't have had earlier. You want to try and let these boys know as early as possible so they can get fixed up. But our season went on till, I don't know, what was the finals on like 31st of May or something?
Back on the weekend,
26th, yeah.
So, I'm 5 days out there.
Yeah, sorry.
So, he's the numbers man, see. But anyway, late.
Who tells them?
Me, together. So we just spent a morning, I think not the next day, but the day after, Craig, wasn't it?
Some was the day after, some was in the evening, yeah.
Of just, look, there's a couple of ways of doing it. You can get them in and go and meet at the training ground, but as you know, like not everyone, where we are, not everyone lives close to the training ground and things like that, and boys have gone off straight after the final and they're doing their own things and stuff like that. So we felt the best way to do it was just to arrange a Zoom with everyone. So obviously it's not face to face, but you're still seeing them rather than you're just picking up a phone or sending a message. That's not the way to do it for me. So
And I'd much rather that than driving for 2 hours. And
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think flipping it the other way around. If most of them know what's coming as well, you say get in the car for 2 hours to come down. Couldn't you just tell me now?
Yeah.
So we done it by Zoom, and yeah, just spent 5-10 minutes with everyone, having an open, frank conversation. It's difficult because it's not personal, is it? And it's always from a place of respect. And I've always, in the main, got on really well with all my players, whether they're playing, whether they're not. I think we had a great group, didn't we, last year? And, we needed everyone, even though when they weren't always involved, or even if they knew what was coming down the line, as far as not being here next year, they stayed with us right until that last second, really. So, and they enjoyed, big or small, what role that they played, because they've all got promotions on their CV now. So that, that's no small feat, that. So it was nice being able to have the conversations on the back of having some success together, again, big or small, what role they played. So that helped, definitely. But they're never nice conversations. You're telling lads that they have to move on. Yeah, and obviously we offered to help, in any way that we could, as far as recommendations, testimonials to whoever, if they need us to pick up the phone to anyone, and you can elaborate on that probably a little bit, but we wanted to help them, even though we're letting them go. Can we help them in their next step? Because we want them to go on and do well. It's not like bang, they're gone and like, you never think of them again. I still want them to do really well because they done well.
We're also big on, we're Wimbledon at the end of the day. The statement we put out was really considerate, I thought, and thanked everyone for their time, and we wanted people to enjoy their time being here because they're going to speak to other players we're trying to recruit in the summer. But out of all the conversations we've done over the years, although it is hard and it is tough because it's such a good group you're breaking up, it's probably one of the easiest ones because you've come off the back of promotion. So that player you're releasing is a promotion winner now. Whereas the ones released the year before weren't promotion winners, were they?
That helps them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For their next step. When you see some of them have gone on and got, we're thinking like, look, Bawley's gone on and joined a really good progressive League Two.
Top of the league.
Yeah, looks like a progressive League Two club, and he had options. And me and Craig both spoke to him quite a bit over the summer, which I think is testament to the relationships that we built. And look, like Bawley weren't happy with me all the time because he weren't playing and stuff like that. But we always had a relationship where we could have frank, open conversations. And the one where we said, we're letting you go was no different. But like, if I can do anything to help you, Bawley, then we will, And to be fair to him, he did pick up the phone to both of us and was like, "Can you? What do you think of this? Or can you help me out with that?" And we both did. Ultimately, his attributes and what he can bring to the party has got him his move to Swindon, and he's doing well. So, but for us, that's a success story as well.
So now more question to you, Craig, because I think looking at your job from a top-down perspective, it is a giant jigsaw puzzle. You need to find the right pieces for every single position, and maybe you might need a bit more just to like sort of help you along on the way. And Johnny mentioned someone like Delano McCoy-Splatt, who's come in, who has played no senior football before, but who's come in to try and impress in League One and hopefully becomes one of these assets that we can go and sell for, £1 million+ at the football club. You bring him in. On the flip side, you have someone like Patrick Bauer, who's an experienced warhorse who knows how to go in and do battle. How do you find the right blend of inexperienced, experienced, and somewhere in the middle?
Well, I think you have to come from a structure. So I'm very process, structure, organisation driven. And then you talk about like putting the pieces in the right area. You put the people in the right area. So the squad we've built from summer 23 onwards, we've got some unbelievable characters in the building. So like we was massive on, we have to get Jake Reeves back to this football club. We need an icon, we need a figure, we need that one that's going to turn the fan base back around, turn the club, the momentum of the club around. And he was that first one. You then bring Omar in, Joe Lewis, initially on loan. But the one that goes under the radar a bit is Ryan Johnson. So you've got these people that mould the dressing room and are key to the way we play, even though some don't play more often than not at different times. They're getting the message across that I want to from a structural point of view and an operational point of view, you from a coaching and philosophy point of view. And then once you've got that base that we will evolve and have evolved, you can start to identify what types need to go around that base. So last year, for argument's sake, we had although they didn't score enough goals on paper at the start of last season, we thought we had 4 really good number 9 options for the division. They didn't score as many goals as we wanted to, and we didn't know which 2 were going to be starters from the start or which 2 were going to come on. Having reviewed the season and coming back, we've looked at we need different types. So you lose a Joe Piggott, for argument's sake, who ended up being respectfully ended up being our 4th striker, and impacting on the pitch, not as much as he would have wanted, but he did impact on the pitch. But it was massive off the pitch.
Did you tell me that he won 7 points for us last season?
Between 5 to 7 points, I think he won for us last season. And then we go to the end of the season and go, right, so what do we want out of our 4 or 5 9s we have? And a lot of it was pace. So are we going to sign in League One? Are we going to sign a proven League One striker on our budget? We could, but the rest of the players aren't on a similar amount of money, and there's that big gap, and we're very conscious of having that big gap. And I think you've seen it the last time when you paid a couple of top earners and the rest were down here. So we chose not to do that. So where we're going to get pace from? We're going to get pace from a younger player coming through. So we take Antoine from Sheffield United on a free transfer. He was really highly rated, made his Premier League debut at 16, and has got some attributes that these guys can work with. You then look at our centre halves, which was our best part of us last season, and we think what we're going to do staying up. We're going to build that momentum we built defensively last year. We might need we might need to wait a bit longer there to get a better deal on a more experienced centre half to come in who's a bit calmer and has played at level before, which is why we took Patrick Bauer in. So those are the decisions you're sort of making when recruiting players, and it's very individualised and specific to the roles you want them to perform on the pitch.
Johnny, do you always get what you want?
No. No.
So, what I'm trying to understand is, obviously, look, this football club, it's built by the fans, run by the fans, and at the end of the day, everyone answers to the supporters because they own the football club. But it's always interesting to know about internal processes and how things work to a limit. Obviously, naturally, some things are confidential, not just for privacy reasons, data reasons, but for strategic reasons as well. And we don't want to expose what we're all about. But how does the dynamic work? Do you say, right, Kopi, I need a keeper, I need this, this. Obviously, he knows what you need already, but you're like, right, I've got that in mind, him in mind. How does the pool work effectively?
Yeah, it works. So obviously we do the framework of the squad and we highlight what positions we need to fill, basically. Then, obviously, we lost a couple that we wanted to keep, that we offered contracts to. So then, so now we need to replace there, and there, and there's the other holes in the squad, if you like. Then it will be, obviously, me and Terry and Redders and stuff will have a knowledge of players that we've come up against or that we've worked with before and stuff like that. Then you have 1,000 agents pushing players to you constantly throughout a summer, and that'll be happening to both of us on a daily basis. And then we always just share the information. So we get a text from an agent, I've got this player, blah, blah, blah. Some of them are quick, you can shut down quickly because it might be, I've got this goalkeeper, and no, we're fine, we've got two already. So, and you wouldn't even bother. I'm sure he gets 1 million that you don't even bother sharing with me. But anything that we think's a little bit interesting, we would share. And then obviously Craig and his teams, i.e. Forney and the scouting network, will also have their players that they've been looking at for a number of weeks, months, years, whatever. So you end up with this big pool of players, and then it's about me and him in the end, ultimately sitting down and siphoning through and going, right, who would we say is our number one target? But obviously all that has to be real. We can have a number one target that's unrealistic. So we might go, we love that player's available, but it's going to cost X amount, bang, put a line through that ain't going to work for us. So then it's having an understanding as well of our budget and what our means is and what's realistic for us. When you figure that out, then you can come up with your list, right? Well, there's our number one target, there's our number two, and then we just attack it. Whether that's attacking the agent, whether that's attacking the lad, if they're unattached and you're allowed to do that, or the clubs, the managers, whatever that looks like. And everyone's different. Sometimes you just deal with an agent and stuff like that. Then he might go to me, you need to get into the lad here, right? And I might have to meet with the lad, speak to the lad, or I might know the lad's manager or whatever. There's like between us we've got it covered, but we've all got different skill sets, different relationships, different contacts.
So when you walk into the office in the morning, both of you, and you sit down, you go on X or social media and you see XYZ League One player is splashing out, bang, this amount of money on a player, or a club in League Two's giving them 10 grand a week or something like that.
It's mad. It's mad, but we understand the club that we're at, so we know we can't do that.
We know where we are. We know what club we work for. I think in me and the gaffer, we've got two people to get on with it. So look, our value, everyone goes to me, the money ball thing. Yeah, now we scout as much as we can, use the data as much as we can. When those texts come through, when the players come through that are available, that we can rule them out straight away because we've got all the information on the players that are coming through, and then we can put a list together. But everyone goes back to the money ball point of view. The money ball point of view isn't the data. The money ball thing that we do is sign undervalued players. So whatever the league are doing, whatever else anyone's doing, and yes, we'd love to have the money to be a part of that, but we haven't. So we go on with it. We take players that we hope other clubs aren't looking at. Like 2 years ago, the players we took Joe Lewis and Ryan Johnson, who are arguably the best two centre-halves in League Two last season. And at the time, we were the only club seriously at the table for them. We take great pride in that. That's the bit that we do. So that's the bit where we go, right, we look at championship players going to League Two for that amount of money you just mentioned. We look at players. We're not in that pool. I get asked by fans, why do we go for this player, not that player, when we're doing forums or when we're walking around the stadium on a match day, which, they own a football club. Are they entitled to or not? I don't know, but they ask the question and we try and answer it. The bit we can't say is we can't say that we couldn't afford that player. That player was never in our stratosphere as where we were looking. We had to go for this one because of A, B, and C. And that's what we've been doing.
He's right, we do get on with it, but we both have mornings sometimes where we've got you see this team that you might consider a rival or this team that's in your league going to do crazy stuff. And I might have a little grumpy morning. But then what we're both good at, like he'll go, right, come on, but we can't affect that. And we need to get on with it and sort of snap me out of it. And then like the next day he'll come bang through the door and I'll be like, oh, it's your turn. It's your turn, is it? I mean, like, what's the matter with you? I thought we put that to bed. And he's like, yeah, I know, but did you see who that they signed last night? Like, so I think that's only natural because we want to be able to do that. Of course, everyone does. You'd like to be able to just go, right, he's the best striker available in League One. He's going to get you 25 goals. Bang, there you go. But we'd all like to be able to do that, but we can't. We understand that. So if we have a little half-hour moment, moaning about that, it's only between me and him, and then we go bang and snap each other out of it. So, and then we get to work.
But we also understand that we're a really good football club to come play for as well. And we have walked away from deals when they've got too much or people are asking for too much, and not just financially, but living-wise and bits and bobs. And, we're very restrained in what we offer, and we've got good structure and process.
A football family. 100% a football family.
We are. There is no such thing as the football family, but that's a different debate.
No, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are. What's it like working with him?
Awful.
A lot of motorway service station pasties, I'd imagine.
Well,
no, never drive. I've stopped driving.
He definitely calls me more than anyone else. Probably similar the other way around. But I think that's because we're very transparent with each other. I've said this before, in these situations, manager, director of football, technical director, whatever, however clubs do it, it doesn't always work. You have egos at play sometimes, and you have different directions, you have different thoughts around the game. But I think what has worked between us is that we're very open to other ideas, as in it ain't like my way or the highway. Do you know what I mean? I've got him, I've got good staff around me, and what would be the point of having these people around you if you didn't ask for different opinions and stuff like that? But we're very much aligned, I think, in the way that we see football, the way that we want to recruit, the way that we understand the club that we work for, and we just get on. So that has been a massive relief, because obviously when Craig was coming into the club, you don't know how to, and it had been the same for him. Like we didn't know each other from Adam, and you don't know how that's going to work. But what we both done was really make a point of trying to make it work. But in the end, I don't think we had to try that hard, because I think we're very similar in a lot of ways. That's not to say like we have difficult conversations.
You ever had blazing rows?
Nah, not really. Like, we've had disagreements, of course. What, like, if you're not
through a few strops.
Yeah, we've both thrown a few strops, but that's more like frustration around situations, not necessarily like with him or vice versa. I wouldn't say no.
Well, does the gaffer throw strops with you?
No. With the situation, yes. I think, like, I was very aware coming to the role. I learned a lot from how I acted at Solihull and how I thought I was supposed to act doing this role. But I was thrown into it at 26 years old, not done anything in the game. Come here, I've started here at 29. I'm thinking, so I've took a lot from that and gone, I'm walking in with Terry Skivington, who's got promoted. I'm walking with Johnnie Jackson, who's got over 500 games in his career. I'm walking into a club that's much more bigger than my ego is and I am, and I've got to take a step back, listen to what's going on. And ultimately, my job, I see my job, and other directors of football might disagree with this, but my job is to make his job as easy as possible. There are going to be times we're going to have a difficult conversation, or you're going to end up leaving one way or another, and I'm going to end up leaving one way or another at the football. We're both aware of the elephant in the room. But there's that mutual respect there. I talk about a triangle all the time. The players I bring into the football club, if I'm going to look good in my career, you've got to get the best out of the players that I bring into the football club. If you're going to look good in your career, I've got to bring the best players into the football club. And then you've got the physical and performance department I've got to keep on the pitch. So there has to be, you have to understand this. We're not gasping for air all the time trying to fight against each other. We're trying to work together to get take Wimbledon as high up the league as we can, and then hopefully move on and but us both get high up the league as we can.
Obviously, we've got different jobs as well.
Yeah.
Like, the ultimate aim for both of us is for Wimbledon to win on a Saturday.
Yes.
Right? And I would say that about, he talks about a triangle, I talk about this. Like, at the top of it is Wimbledon getting 3 points on a Saturday, and every single person that works for us, whatever you do, if you said to him, what's your job? The first thing they should say is to help Wimbledon win. I know it sounds corny, do you know what I mean? But it's like, that is all of our roles. So ultimately, our focus is exactly the same. It's making this team win and being successful. But there will be differences between his role and my role. Like, I'm completely judged on what's happening on the pitch and results and stuff like that, whereas Craig, use McCoy Splat as a good example, right? That's a great signing, right? Like, for the football club as an asset that you spoke about, that hopefully we can develop and turn into a proper bona fide League One player that you go and sell because he's now good enough to play in the Championship. In the first instance, he might not be in the team helping me win on a Saturday, but you've got to look at that type of player as well to develop for the football club. And so have I. That's part of my responsibility as well. But in the short term, I've got to be thinking about winning and all. Do you know what I mean? That's where there can be little differences between the jobs. But ultimately, the job is to make us win, for everyone.
Don't he remind you of Jonah Hill's character in Moneyball, Peter Brand?
I've got better hair, though.
Johnny, tell me about you. 4th season in now. It's been one hell of a roller coaster, hasn't it? I mean, there's been ups and downs. You think of every season, it's kind of been a season of two halves. Last season, you achieved what you initially came to achieve, which was to get the club promoted out of League Two. How have you changed as a manager? How is Johnnie Jackson different to the Johnnie Jackson that walked in through the door all those years ago?
I think I've learned a lot about myself, because how do you learn? You need to go through some tough experiences, I think, and come out the other side, and you learn about your character and your resilience. And I've learned how to deal with disappointment, I suppose. I don't think I really knew what disappointment looked. Obviously, I had just, when I come here, I had just been sacked, so there was a huge disappointment. But I felt really hard done by, and I'd done a good job and stuff like that. So that fueled me. But then obviously some big setbacks early on, and some real sort of pressure that I had to deal with, and I had to come through, and I did. And I learned that in that period I stayed steady. I didn't get too sort of up and down and reactionary. And
how'd you deal with the dark days though?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I don't know, it probably weren't much fun to be around. Just when Saturdays didn't go well, Sunday probably was a bit of a nightmare to be around. But then what you do is you just get back to work, and you double down on your efforts, and like, we're never shied away from the hard work, and just try to meet everything head on. I always thought that there was mitigating circumstances, and as tough as it was in that first season, I don't know if anyone could have done too much better. That's not to say I'm patting myself on the back for that at all. There was definitely things that I could have done better, for sure. And again, that's been part of my learning. But I think with the experience, just look, I've done like, I don't know, maybe close to 200 games now as a manager. So just that experience of preparing the team week in, week out, going through losses, wins, defeats, being ahead and going behind, or coming back, and just all the different experiences that you have in a 90 minutes of football. You build up a real knowledge around learning from your mistakes. I know a lot more about the leagues, the teams, how they play, the styles, the players. When I came into Wimbledon, I'd only worked in League One, and I didn't really know much about League Two and the level. And you try to do as much research as you can, as quickly as you can, but you're in it, and you're learning all the time. And I underestimated the league for sure, and that's something that I've learned that I think it's probably like due to my playing days when I did play in League Two. I would say it's probably a lot better now, a lot more tactical. I think the quality is just seeping down the levels. And you look at like so far this season, some of the teams and the players that you're coming up, like some real top quality. And I just think a much better manager now than I was, and that's probably through lived experience, highs and lows, but being out on the grass every day, working with players, building up relationships, tactical knowledge, sessions, everything. I just think some of it you can't learn until you're bang in the middle of it. And, I've done all the courses and all that, and they're great up to a point, but they can't prepare you for like when you're in it.
What does a match day feel like for you? Because I know managers in the Football League. I mean, I'm very fortunate to be able to speak to a load all the time, and you learn about certain intricacies. I know there's a manager in quite a pressurised job right now in the EFL who detests match days, who absolutely hates them, who literally says, I want to go in, win 1-0, go home, go to bed and put my head on the covers. And you sit there and you're like, do you not enjoy it? I mean, you see the way you prowl on the touchline now, you're so different to where you were 3 years ago. You're so different to where you were 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, to where you were under pressure, to moments of pressure last season. I don't know, there's something different about you. But what does your match day look like? How do you ensure that you enjoy that time and you're also going home to your family, whatever the result, happy, because you've got a lovely young family, beautiful young family, and at the end of the day, before anything else, you're a father and a husband.
The honest truth is I don't particularly enjoy match day. I love Monday to Friday, being on the grass, preparing a team, being ready. Just when match day comes, listen, when it goes well and you win, it's the best day of the week. It's the best feeling. But I can't stand losing. I'm I think I'm quite gracious in defeat, as in with the opposition and stuff like that. But like as far as how it makes me feel, and I know for a fact how it makes people feel around me, it's not good. I'm not necessarily proud of that or whatever. I'm not saying that's a badge of honour, but like you say, I've got family. I know how it affects them and people around me and stuff like that, but I don't know how any other way to be when it ain't gone well. So I suppose there's a little bit of the anxiety of, if it doesn't go well, what am I putting other people through? I guess that makes me not like the match day so much. I've definitely got better. Definitely started to, like you said, try and enjoy it more, because I love this job. Like, I love it. I wouldn't want to be doing anything else in the world, bar maybe still playing, but the legs packed up a long time ago. Do you know what I mean? So that one's out. I doubt I'm going to be a professional paddle player now. That's probably beyond me as well. So I'm doing the job that I love and I want to do. And so I am trying to enjoy the match days, but it's just winning and losing is so important to us. And to the jeopardy of what you're doing, like, let's face it, look, it's a perilous job, right? It's a perilous profession is what I mean. The football manager, the shelf life. I'm very fortunate that I'm at a club where, you are given time and space and you're not micromanaged and stuff like that. But, a football manager's shelf life, it can be really, really small. So it means the jeopardy is on every single game. And obviously with that comes pressure.
I wish you could feel what I feel coming to Plough Lane as not just a fan, but as a broadcaster as well. It's this weird feeling. I always have this feeling anything is possible. Anything is possible at home. There's something so special about coming down Plough Lane on a match day. There's such a feeling of pride driving through Wimbledon, driving through the areas around Collieswood. I've got my own little match day routine now. I always go for a coffee in Collieswood at my pal's coffee shop, turn around and we come to the ground. But there's something about it. Obviously, you're in a different position.
But the thing, AP, you're not going to get is, and I try to talk to my friends about this. It's like one of the only jobs, and yours is very similar actually, where if you have a bad day at work, everyone knows about it.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows about it straight away, yeah? So all the fans coming to Plough Lane, like, it affects them massively if we win, lose or draw. We don't take bread off the table. It don't jeopardise the career one way or another. There's a lot of luck involved in a match. There's a lot of mitigating circumstances why one game will go one way and one game will go the other. The Bradford game's the perfect example. We played really, really well. 2.5 bits of luck, we lose the game. Even the game Saturday, when we didn't play particularly well, a little bit of luck cost us a key decision in the game leading up to it. So what I'm trying to say is the anxiety that you have and I think the willingness of your team wanting to do, I'm speaking on your behalf a little bit here, when you see how the good work that goes in Monday to Friday, and you get to Saturday, and that Monday to Friday, optically, outside of the world of football, doesn't really matter. And
Do you go to bed
that's
Friday
what's
night going,
harsh.
right, I told John I win his headers, I told this person to do that, I hope he remembers that. Is that what you're thinking?
Sort of, yeah.
Friday
Like,
night?
I always have a better feeling when I walk off the training pitch on a Friday afternoon. Like, you've done your week. Are the team well prepared? Yeah. Do they know what they're doing? Do they know what the plan is? Do they know what we're doing with the ball, without the ball? Like, I like to think, yeah. And I like to think if you ask any of the players, yeah. Now, that don't necessarily mean it's going to happen that way, obviously, the next day. But what I would say, when you've got a confidence in what's walking out the door, down the tunnel and onto the grass, it doesn't half make you feel better. Now, last year, with this group now, we've got a confidence in what's going out there and whether we've made a few changes or whatever, that they understand what's required of them. You know, when I first come in that first season, no disrespect, but sometimes when the lads were walking, that group, that 11, whatever it was, were walking out, I was like, well, I don't know what's coming today. I don't know what we're going to get out of them. Obviously, it's my job to make them, but, you know, the most important people are the boys that are going to obviously walk across that line. So to have a confidence in what's going out there helps massively, and I think that's why I probably enjoy match days now a lot more than I used to.
But that's took a while to build.
Of course, everything takes a while to build.
Yeah.
So there's gonna. I really want to ask you one more question, both of you one more question. Then I've got one more football one because we've got to wrap pretty soon. Worst day for both of you. Worst day at the office on a match day. What was it? Because obviously the best day is probably going to be Wembley. Maybe not to County Home. I don't know. Maybe it was them. Maybe it was them at home. The 3-0. Maybe it was the 1-0. I don't know.
But I think
been some unbelievable days.
Wembley's obviously the best. Yeah.
Not for me.
Why?
I was ill. Yeah.
You were.
I didn't even enjoy it. I really didn't even enjoy it.
I enjoyed it for us both.
Thank you.
Aaron. Don't worry, mate.
Thank you. I still resent the fact that Jake Reeves was convinced I'd had a few too many beers. He was convinced. He goes, saw me like 2 weeks later. He goes, you were finished. You were gone. I was like, I know, Reeves. I had to go to hospital. I was so ill. It was so bad. But I don't know. What's the worst day? What's been the worst?
Oh, can I give you two?
Yep.
First MK game away, we was about 3-0 down in 25 minutes, and then we went down to 9 men, and I'm fearing the worst here. I'm thinking, Jesus, this could get really bad. What was already bad, like, could get miles worse. We actually scored and rallied and ended 3-1, and in the end, like, you know, it was a disaster of a result, of course, but felt like it could have been a lot worse with the way it went, going down to 9 men. So that was a bad one, because, you know, against them lot, my first one, you know, you built the game up in your head, and then it went as bad as it could have gone, really.
I think we've made up for it, though.
Well, yeah, that was what I mean. But then you look what we've gone and done in the few after that. Yeah, more than made up for it. And then I think in that first season, we got beat by Swindon at home 5-0, 5-1. Did we score? I think we might have gone ahead, actually. Did we go ahead?
Probably.
I think we went ahead.
Wiped it.
And that was in the midst of a bad run. It's a bad scoreline at home to get beat. I feared the worst, to be honest. I think I remember ringing Skivo that night or that weekend on Sunday and saying, like, look, you know, got to be realistic here. What a lot of clubs would do in this position, you know, right or wrong, whatever. It felt like a particularly bad moment, bad result, even on paper, you know, just the optics of it, you know, losing 5-1 at home. Yeah, I feared the worst after that one. Was in a pretty bad place, but yeah, managed to come through it. So Yeah, I think them two. If I can give you them two.
Kobe?
I don't know, I've been quite fortunate. I see things like that happen, and like the 5-0 at Swindon was bad. I remember there
5-1.
5-1, sorry. There were discussions. Straight after. And I presented the case saying, you hit the nail on the head earlier in the pod saying about mitigating circumstances, and the club was not set up to be successful. The manager wasn't set up to be successful with the resources he had, so we had to address that first, and then hopefully it'd get better, and it did. But there's a lot of things like that happens that you end up going, okay, well that had to happen, or the MK one might have had to have happened so we could do our own thing rather than listen to too many voices, which we did after that. And then we had better results for that. We've had better results after this. So I look at a lot of the things that happened that were quite bad and how we've reacted to them, with resilience, togetherness and all that. And that's what we personify. And we've managed to build on the bad times. First 10 minutes at Colchester was awful because we thought I thought, have I got these signings completely wrong?
Didn't your missus text you?
No, my missus was at the game. I was driving back. She goes, someone was shouting, who the hell signed all these players? And she went, and I know that was you.
Someone shouted to me after 10 minutes to change it as well. I was like, they've had 2 set pieces stuck in our box and scored. Like, we ain't even touched the ball yet.
This has become a very reflective podcast, and I've really enjoyed it. No, I love it because at the end of the day, it feels like therapy for you guys as well. And you guys have been able to come out and talk about what you want to talk about, and we not really delve too much into football. The last main question I'll ask you guys is that for the past 3 seasons, it feels like we've had a target, an aim, a collective aim as a football club, which is get out of League 2. Get out. Let's get promoted. What's the aim this season? And how do you... Sorry, do you know what? I need to add to that question because we talked about the group and how tight-knit the group was and how good a group they were, and it's difficult losing Josh Nerfield, James Tilley, Joe Piggott, you mentioned him. He's someone who played his part. Despite not playing as much, he played his part. James Ball played his part. How do you recharge a group when there's, and I kind of ask, is there a clear target for this season? How do you get a group going and say, right, this is where we're going. We want to be here. We want you part of this project.
We've got to be realistic in what we do. A lot. The last 3 years, from my point, I can say it. You did a really good job keeping Wimbledon in League 2 first season. The club was not set up to be successful. It was driving towards non-league, and it weren't necessarily anyone's fault, and no one should be to blame for that. It was just gone through a bad stage, and it was trying to get itself back together. So then we go, right, there's a line in the sand. Year 1, progress. Year 2, progress. Ended up getting promoted that year. When we said we want to get inside the playoffs, we overachieved what we went to set out at the start. And this year is to make sure that little when you look in the next 5 years of Wimbledon, is to make sure that little line keeps going up and up and up. So realistically, is the club, and I'll be honest with everyone, is the club set up to go and challenge at the top end of League 1? Just got into the league, and 4 of the last 6 teams got relegated in the first season. The other 2 get relegated the year after. So we've got to go, realistically, we have to stay in the division because we've got to make sure that little ticker keeps going up season on season. So that will be the aim, stay in the league. But we're both ambitious people, and we both think we've put a squad together. We've got to be realistic as well.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to sit here and go, yeah, we just need to stay in. Obviously we do. We need to consolidate as a League 1 club and build step by step. Craig's absolutely right. But my brain doesn't work like, let's just finish. I think we've built, you've seen so far, we've built a team that can compete in any given game. Now, so it's finding consistency to do that week in, week out, which will be a massive challenge. You can get up for an individual game, but challenge for me now is making sure that we're always at that level, even in defeat. We need to be competitive, and there's going to be some tough days in there, but we've also had some really good days already and shown that we're a really good team. I'm trying to evolve the team as well. that don't just want to be the same team year in, year out. So obviously we got promoted on being the best defensive team, most clean sheets, least goals conceded by a mile. We won the last 4 games 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. We deserved to win every one of them games, but it wasn't like we was peppering teams. Do you know what I mean? So we was a certain type of team, which we embraced. We were fine with that. We just become the best at doing it. But now I'm trying to add layers to the team as well. I think you've seen it. We are a little bit more expansive with the ball. We are trying to play in a slightly different way. Can't lose the defensive side of that as well. Do you know what I mean?
How do you balance that? I mean, it's risk versus reward.
Yeah.
I watched Kieran McKenna's Ipswich the year they got promoted out the Championship, and their attitude was, if you score 4, we won't score 5. We'll score 7 or 8.
Yeah.
We'll go and do that. It's high risk.
They had the best players in the league, arguably.
Not in the Championship.
Nah, I think
not in the
I
Championship.
think they weren't far off.
That was the core of the side was a League One side plus Omari Hutchinson.
But in League One, I think they built a team ready. Like what Craig said, were we ready for the Championship? No. I think they was doing that to be ready that when they went in there and they could just add, they was ready to go again.
But is that fundamental? Is having those players the fundamental reason as to why they went up, or was it also a tactical thing? How do you separate the attributes of the players
they
in
was
comparison
obviously
to tactics?
coached well. Like I'm not going to be that. Let's just outscore the opposition because you end up in 4-3s every week, and more often than not, you come out the wrong side of them.
His blood pressure won't take it.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely won't either. You neglect the defensive side. Like for me, it's still the best teams are built on solid foundations, which has got to be. So that's the challenge for me now. It's like, look, we went to Bradford. We could have scored 4 easy, right? But we only got 2 on the day, and then we've ended up shipping the other end. So, like, as much as I like that performance, I don't want to get beat 3-2. Do you know what I mean? And go, oh, we created loads. Like, my sole focus is on winning. That's what I want to do. I want to try and win, and I want to try and take this club as far as I possibly can. We want to try and entertain while we do it. That's the next bit for me. It's like, right, how do we layer this up without losing what we was and what got us here? You know what I mean? And throwing all the work that we've done. So that is a challenge, of course. And how are we going to do it? We're going to have to work hard on the training pitch, and that's going to be my job.
But you have to remember where you are, what resource you have available, and what, like, we can't. What the Ipswich story is incredible, but the biggest thing I take from that is their structure and their organisation within their football club.
Yeah,
and massive football club.
But they've set a structure in place to go bang, 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 with unbelievable finances that we haven't got access to. So we have to go. So we measure a lot, and we make sure that we have a solid base. If we went out and built a squad, we couldn't afford to go out and build a squad to go and be a outscoring team. We can't afford that. We can't afford to sign top 6 League One forwards to create that. So we have to make them. And then by the time they get to the level we want them to be at, clubs come and buy them off us. But that's the reality of where we are.
I think when I referred to the Ipswich example, it was more a case of the coaching element of Kieran McKennan's sort of philosophy of the way he wants to do things. It wasn't necessarily about the players.
Yeah.
I say we all follow your donut. The Kopi donut.
Oh, the Kopi pie.
Go on.
Resilience, togetherness, constant improvement.
Resilience,
club.
Togetherness, constant improvement. And that's where we will leave this episode of the official AFC Wimbledon podcast. Kopi, Craig, Director of Football, thank you so much for your honesty. As ever, appreciate it. Boss, should we do it again soon? It feels like a real therapy session. Maybe you can invite the coaches round. We can have a little round table.
Got to get Skivo on board, didn't we?
He'd love it.
Got to get Skivo.
He would love it. Ashley Bays will have his own episode, I'm sure. And Dave Reddington will just sit in the corner and smile, really. It's just the way we do things. Thank you again for coming on and sharing with us. That's it for this episode of the official AFC Wimbledon podcast. Thank you to Craig and to Johnny for their company, and to you for watching and listening. Don't forget, this episode, as well as every episode of the official club podcast this season, is brought to you by Firedoor Compliance Consultants Limited. Head over to fdccltd.co.uk or get in touch with Daniel. That is Daniel at fdccltd.co.uk to get yourselves booked in ASAP. We will catch you again on the next episode. See you then.